I have a question for you. Or a couple of questions. Yeah, forgetting it for you. Is everybody ready?
I'd like to make a comment about the live streaming, because that's how I watch all the council meetings. It's more than just for you to speak directly into your mic, because nobody will hear it.
Okay.
Unless your voice carries really well.
Thank you.
We can, yeah, let's call the order at 6 o'clock. Do we want to do an official roll call?
Okay.
Steve Dawson?
Kyle McVeigh.
Allie Welch.
Adriana Kalk.
Nicole Schreiner.
Any citizens' comments?
Any citizens?
Yeah. And David will be absent this evening.
Okay.
And do approval of minutes for May 21st.
I make a motion that we accept the minutes for May 21st, 2025.
All right. All in favor?
You need a second.
Oh, sorry. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
And none opposed? On number 5, we have 2 presentations this evening that I asked. I guess this was a request from a while ago for Part B, but 5A, I was kind of curious. We hadn't seen a revenue report like per feature or section of all the parks, so I had asked Jonah if he could compile that maybe for the last year. So, see what you have. And maybe this can help us with decisions or just to understand how the budget works a little better. Shoot.
Okay. Well, this is, I thought I had everything all scheduled up, but I guess now that we're live streaming, something doesn't want to work. So it was in the council packets. I'm still going to try to share it on the screen over here. But basically what I have in the council packet is just for this year so far from January 1st, 2025 to June 1st, 2025. It's our revenue report. In the revenue report, it shows the different registration or payments that we collect throughout Parks and Recreation. So swimming pool, private party fees, pool entrance fees, swim team fees, all of our RV reservations and costs, tent camping, area rentals, pavilion rentals, holiday fees like Easter weekend, July 4th weekend, stuff like that. Softball field at Lions Park rentals, the additional RV electrical fee that is charged in the summer months, and then amphitheater fee, soccer field regional park fees, the convenience fee with paying with credit card, and then we have on there refund accounts, but basically what happens is it's showing the cleaning deposits that go back to the people that rented pavilions, areas, or the pool. And then we have on here cash account. So I'm sorry that it is not wanting to pull up. But basically, I just kind of want to get your feedback on what it is that you all are looking to see. If this is exactly what you want to see, if you want to see like year to year, how that compares, which I think would be good. How often you all want to see this. So really, it's just kind of more of a feedback from me on what it is that the board is wanting to see and or citizens that they are wanting to see. So like, for example, swimming pool, private parties, just this year, we've brought in $7,000. Swim team, we brought in over $6,800. The RV park, $56,000. So really, we can just go as extensive as we want. We can have more or as much or as little information on here as we want to provide.
I think it would be interesting to see from year to year,
Okay.
and it maybe just to check in once a year. I don't know if it needs to be more than that, or if anyone else feels that you need to be updated.
Twice a year.
2 times a year?
But don't split it in the middle, like October, November, December, January, February, March, and then April through September. Just for GPs, I don't know.
Okay.
Jennifer.
Is it all of this like in a particular account that you just manage, or?
Yes, so this is all going to be general fund. So it's all going back into general fund. I don't necessarily manage it, but finance does, and they'll give us a revenue report quarterly, I believe. So I can put this as backup to what they have, and then this will be more in depth because what theirs is going to have is just regional park, pool, stuff like, however it's broken down in their codes and their GL codes. But we can definitely.
You'll want the expenses as well.
Yeah, so the whole, what
Yes.
is that called?
It's not a profit and loss, is it?
Maybe so. No,
What's
it's
the other?
more.
A general balance sheet? Yeah,
Yes,
maybe.
I was losing my accounting terms. I did not take that class.
Is the baseball included with this report?
The airport fields, the baseball? No,
Okay.
because they're their own entity, so they're doing their own deal.
But do you
But we
include
can-
the contracts, the different league contracts in this?
I would have to
Or
double.
does that
I would
go
have to
different
double
ways?
check. I would think that it would, basically, because it's all going to go into the same GL code.
Uh-huh.
But I can double check to make sure and see if it's broken out. If it's in a certain one, where is that noted? If it's not, make sure that that's in Civic Rec, because this is just a report from Civic Rec. This isn't a report from the city side. So there could be other things that the city tracks that Civic Rec doesn't track. So I can make sure that I have both of those side by side, so that way we can see.
Because it has the swim team fee. It would be nice to see. Well, and it says soccer fields. So yeah, really, we're just missing a couple of the baseball, Lions Park soccer, softball fields, stuff like that.
Correct.
Well, but also on this swim team, there are 3 different entities that are in there.
And that's true
So,
too.
Yeah, so that's a helpful distinction, I think.
Okay.
And that'll work if you bring it for next July, because that's when we do a special fund report,
Okay.
special project fund report, balance report. Will you be able to pull up the next one, you think?
It looks. There it goes. Whew. Good night. Okay. So for whoever didn't see, this is basically what I got for you all. Like I said, this is just from Civic Rec. I can compare this with what the city finances has, and then just share and compare both of them, just so that way they match up. I'll bring this back in July with the quarterly report of the Park Special Project Fund, and then I'll make sure that we have expenses added in there, and then also we'll try to track October through March, try to have both so that way we can see if we're kind of in line, and then show our historical how it's looking.
Okay.
All right.
Okay, 5B is the park and recreation comparison table for the leagues.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, so I did, Ali, thank you for giving me a good starting point on this. I did change it a little bit. So up here on the top, we have our soccer leagues, recreation, and club. The next line is going to be our softball, recreation, volleyball, recreation, and dive and swim teams, both recreation and club. Now, whenever we say recreation, those are going to be like your, summer league, something that's small, not year round or close to year round. So Castroville United, back up to soccer. Castroville United Football Club is a 501c3. They practice primarily at Lions Park soccer fields. They have a used rental agreement. They started in 2024. This is not, their term is 2024 through 2029, and their seasons run February 1st through June 29th, spring, and August 1st through December 15th, fall. Their rental fee, so far they have done basically like an in-kind contribution of $72,500. Some of that money has been used for the lights at Lions Park and the pool renovations at Castroville Regional Park Pool. There's not currently a user fee due to the fact that they gave us or donated those funds. Now, the board did ask if we could try to talk to them about negotiating some type of fee, just because we want to make sure that we're fair across the board. So if that's still something the board would like, then I can definitely go back and negotiate. But I think we do need to be fair across the board and make sure that everybody is paying some type of fee, even if it's a nominal fee. But just so that way there's no, well, they don't pay, so we want to make sure that we're the same across the board.
I do feel like that was a really big contribution that they've given so far. So I don't know how. At some point.
At some point, absolutely. And again, it could be nominal. Nominal, but it's just one of those things. Again, we just want to have that consistency. This group is very willing to work with us. I was supposed to meet with them this week about they were going to donate some seed to try to seed or look into irrigating the section between the splash pad and where they practice, because they need more space. They're growing, so they need more space. Currently, that's just kind of a drainage area. So we'd have to look at if we are going to irrigate it, how are we going to irrigate it, and then the seed or cost to put in grass, or if they want to install a grass seed. So Medina Valley Soccer Association, this one is a rec and club. They are also a 501c3. Their primary facility is Castroville Regional Park. They are under a license agreement. They started on February 1st of 2025. Their term is from 2024 through 2029. The start date is kind of misleading because that's when they signed. That's when the contract was finally finalized. But their actual seasons, are February 1st through June 29th and August 1st through December 15th. Again, they're in a 5-year contract as well, 2024 through 2029. Their rental fee to the city is $20 per participant. Maintenance is done by the city. In 2025 spring, they had 661 participants. And then some of the participant fee to their organization, not the city, I didn't really track down, just because I don't know really if it benefits the city, but that one was pre-filled in. So 110 U6 through U17 and $65 for U4.
The only reason I put that in as a factor at all is because I was curious, because I know it came up with a discussion with soccer previously, that they felt like the city was asking for too much, and I was just curious what the comparison was across.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's one of those things where it all just depends on the organization. I know for a fact whenever we were negotiating that specific contract and that fee, they opted to just push that fee onto their users, So again, there's a lot of different factors that play into this. But that's, again, we're trying to just keep it simple and looking at it. Really, it's up to the league on what they want to charge. Medina Valley Youth Baseball Association, also a 501c3. Their facility is the airport baseball fields. They are in a license agreement. Their start date was October 1st. Term is 3 years, 2024 through 2027. Excuse me. Their seasons are March 1st through June 1st, plus or minus. There's no rental fee to the city. Maintenance is done by the league. Wasn't sure on participant numbers, and then their participant fee to the organization is $125 per registrant. Softball league, the lady who runs it, her last name is Marandon. I think her first name is Christy. It's a private organization. Their primary fields are Lions Park softball fields. Once in a while, they will use the fields at the airport based on time of day and if they need lights. What I understand is they like to do their tournament in one day. So that's why they would go and work with Medina Valley Youth Baseball Association on using those fields over there. They are in a use rental agreement. Their start date was March 1st. Their term is approximately 4 months. Season runs March 1st through June 30th. Rental fee is $40 per day. Maintenance is done by the city. The greened out areas are kind of questions. I didn't know how many participants they have or what their fees were. I could definitely get it. I just kind of ran out of time. Volleyball league, same individual, private, regional park volleyball courts. Use rental agreement, start date June 1st, term is 3 months, so June 1st through August 31st. Their rental fee is also $40 per day, and the $40 per day for both of those is just what the daily fee is to rent that court or that field. Maintenance is done by the city. Again, unsure on participants and what the participant fee is for that organization. Dive and swim teams. Dive team, private organization. As I understand, it could be a 501c3, but I couldn't find too much information on them. Their facility is the regional park pool. Use rental agreement, start date May 1st, seasonal, summer and winter seasons, and they pay for a pass per diver, so $150 per swimmer. Maintenance is done by the city, participants approximately 15 divers. Medina Valley High School swim team, they're a school district. Facility pool, use rental agreement, start date 9/1/2024. Their term is for 1 year. September 1st through the second Friday in February. And same, they do $150 per swimmer plus the lifeguard fee of $60 per practice. Maintenance is done by the city, and they had 21 participants this last calendar year. This was an average because they started out, if I remember correctly, they started out with like 28 or so, and then they ended up ending at like 16. So we kind of just did a median in between. Medina Valley Swim Club, Nicole's here so she can correct me if I'm wrong on any of this stuff. 501c3, they are also at the pool. Use rental agreement, start date is August 21st, 2024. 1 year agreements, and then their season is 9/4 through 9/3 of 2025. Rental fee is $100 per swimmer. City does the maintenance. Participants,
If you average it out at the end of the season, you're probably looking at 30. Peak at 50, low at 20. Chilly.
and then I can again get that participant fee and organization from Nicole later. Castroville Otters City funded swim team, facility at the pool, no agreement. Start date May 1st. Term is 1 year or 1 season. May 1st through June 30th is generally their season. Their fee is $175 per swimmer. Maintenance is done by the city. In 2025, if I'm not mistaken, it was 57 participants. Participant fee to the organization, in this case, is the city, so it's the $175. So I hope this helps. Like I said, I'll still plan to talk to Castroville United. Just again, so that way we're fair across the board. And then we'll update this every year, so that way, as these agreements and stuff need to be renewed, I'll bring it back to you all, so that way you guys can see it as well.
Like, does the Medina Valley Soccer Association, do they contact you much, or are any of these groups particularly needy? I mean, I know swim is always there, and you have to you've got pool temperatures. I mean, that's
not
like a lot of hands-on.
Yeah,
The
not
other
really.
groups-
The only thing is going to be so outside of general maintenance. So like Medina Valley Soccer Association, really the only thing we have to do is going to be turf maintenance. So mowing, weed eating, fertilization, insecticide broadcast, stuff like that. Softball, volleyball. Volleyball is just going to be court maintenance, keeping the weeds out, spraying for all that stuff, making sure. We work with Christy on making sure that they're as square as possible. Castroville United and the softball league, we do paint their lines generally, but they also give back cost-wise. So really, they're paying for the cost of the material. We're just out of pocket the labor to do it and the equipment. So it evens out because they need it. Other people end up using it as well, so it benefits everybody. But no, there's no one organization that really needs more than others. I mean, I think they all have their own, needs and wants. But the group is really good. The team is really good about making sure that we try to take care of everybody.
Any other questions on this one? I'll add it to including with the revenue
Bless you.
and the special project fund, like this one, like you said, to review annually. Would be a good one to add to our list. All right, 6A, discuss and take action on 134 Village Path Pocket Park, which is a master plan update. I don't know if we need to look at it. Had good feedback from Patrick and Scott too. I checked with Scott and he says that developers should be working with the city, I think, to get that trail to connect. And because if you look at page 3 of the document,
Which one?
the Pocket Park Master Plan update.
The 6th page that you sent out?
Yes. Yeah. If you look at the map on for the heights of Castroville, it's that subdivision that's supposed to go into the south of Country Village. It's not very clear what's going on in that corner, but Scott did clarify that they should work with us to put a trail there.
They don't know what they're gonna do yet.
He says the developer is behind on everything. They haven't, I guess, officially broke ground. So, I don't know if anyone has any other comments on that document. Yes.
So just FYI, if they make it a detention pond, if all water draining through there, it's a drainage pond. Turn that detention pond into a skate
Into a what?
park. Skateboard park.
I don't know if that neighbor there, I forget.
A state pocket park?
But that would be on the developer side.
Mr. Wolf.
Wait, a state
Skate.
skateboard. Oh, a skate park. I'm like,
Skate.
I thought you were like state park. Okay.
A skateboard park.
Oh.
The developer can do that. To the city park. Just a suggestion.
And I think Mr. Mers, who lives in this neighborhood and did citizens' comments last month, was enthusiastic about what is spec'd here as well. So that's,
I will say, also live in the neighborhood, and even with all the rain we got, the one side in the picture where it's green, that flooded this past week, the rest of it is not underwater.
Okay.
So it's not underwater.
Honestly, like the board was presented with the citizens' comments about it, I think the direction the board is going in making sure that this doesn't take place until after council has decided on what the developer's doing on the backside. But I think also any improvements that the developer is going to do with the drainage between this and the other drainage section, I think would be good. I mean, really, I understand the citizens' comments about, water getting up to his door, but, hopefully that's all taken into account whenever they do these drainage improvements. So, and nothing that we planned or scoped is going to be in high maintenance. It's very low maintenance stuff that can be, replenished, like kitty mulch and stuff like that can be put back in. And that's kitty mulch is the fall surface. But, if we build up some of these features, the playground itself or whatever we end up putting there, same thing with like the swing sets, they're all going to be enclosed with that little barrier. So if we build that barrier, that little concrete, fencing up, or not concrete, plastic fencing, and put the kitty mulch in there, even if it gets washed out, we can just replenish it. It's low maintenance stuff. It's easy to maintain and do.
I think at minimum, if you get a trail, and if you go, I think it's the third page. That one shows it too, but if you get a trail right there where it says lot 4, yeah, that section.
This one, lot
and
8?
you go into the neighborhood below, you connect so many people. Yeah. The trail at minimum, I think, will be so advantageous for the neighborhoods.
Yeah. Ultimately, it's going to be up to council on what they want to do, if they want to accept it or if they want to accept it based on whatever the detention pond looks like. But again, it doesn't hurt to be prepared to have the option. If for some reason somebody wants to donate another $72,000, then we can always say, hey, look, we had this pocket park plan. We understand the developer is going to do this. We know what they're going to do. This would just help and benefit the community. So.
Can I ask for a motion? Yeah.
You can.
Is there any other discussion on this update? Brianna emailed me too, and she said she was going to look it over, but Scott seemed to be okay with at least this diagram.
And yeah, I mean, for what it's worth, going through it, like to me, it's very succinct, like it's very clear, and I find it pretty persuasive
Yeah.
for all the things that it's doing, for a minimal amount of effort and maintenance.
And again, all these items can be scaled back too. If we decide not to put this little jungle gym in and just do a trail, some benches, and a swing set, we can always do that too. It really just depends on funding ultimately and what the direction council wants to go in.
Well, it'd be kind of a good use of some things in the special project fund, because I think all these items were like in that
Small,
that range of.
Can I make I'd like to make a motion to accept the recommendations into the Parks Master Plan.
I second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
What are we actually recommending?
This whole document to be added to the master plan. Right now, there's nothing about this lot in the master plan, so it's just going to be a new section added to it.
Oh, okay.
Do you want to thumb through it? Do you want to thumb through it page by page? Just real quick.
I tried to follow the format of the rest of the master plan and the way each park recommendation was outlined. So you have kind of an introduction on the property, and then I tried to show a location of it in Castroville.
I can zoom in too, so that way.
I don't know, maybe that's not the best map.
It's a very good map.
And then this is coming from the Heights of Castroville development agreement, and I think it's a year old. We wanted some clarification on what's going on in that, where it says lot 901, and I think those look like trees and picnic benches or something like that. And talking to Scott, and based on Patrick's feedback, they have plans to work together with the developer to figure out that pond, so you could put a trail there. It's not just going to be like blocked off. This link is handy because it specifies, even though there's a section in the master plan that talks about different parks, categories of parks, this one particular one talks about pocket parks. So I tried to include that to show this is what we're speccing And then this park distribution, accessibility, and functions is in each section of the master plan. So I tried to prove out those comments. And then this outlines basically what's in the table that's at the end of the document. And I put in there the part that we definitely need to include the neighborhoods in the planning of the park.
Yes.
And of course, to fix the drainage before anything's included.
So it might be a while.
Yes.
Does that mean the homeowners association, if they have one?
There's not one.
I think there
It was-
might be one for the height. I'm gonna guess.
For Country Village.
Yeah.
Site plan of that area, and then the table with estimated costs.
Okay, in that case, I vote yes.
Did you vote yes, Stephen?
Mhm.
Okay, so I think that's everybody.
I believe
The
so.
motion passes. Thank you very much. 6B is discuss and take action on partnering with GrantWorks to apply for Texas Park and Wildlife Grant. And this is Jonah's.
Yes, so Texas Parks and Wildlife opened up their grants for this 2025 year. We would like to submit a grant application for possible funding from Texas Parks and Wildlife Department. We were just awarded a trail grant that Patrick Connor put together and submitted on behalf of the city and the Friends. So that's very exciting. But basically, we would like to partner with GrantWorks. They submitted our grant application, I believe it was for the 2023 or 2024 application period. There's a fee associated with their help in compiling and submitting. That fee is $7,000. It'll come out of my parks budget, but it's just something, if the park board would like to move forward with submitting an application, I would like to get approval for that, and then it's going to go before council next week based on what the park board would like to do. But yeah.
What would you be actually trying to get?
So a lot of this is going to be for Lions Park. It's primarily going to be for that all-inclusive playground. So I can actually pull some of that stuff up, but that's going to be the biggest. That's going to be the biggest item that I would try to request. So it's going to be this Fascinations Factor playground with a swing set or swing set bays, and it's going to go right over here in this, relative to this picture, to the west side of the splash pad or the property.
Did GrantWorks, the last application they did, was it this same thing?
Yes, but
Right.
the difference was that we had, if I remember correctly, we had broader and more projects that were across two different properties. We had Lions Park and Regional Park. So we applied for both. We applied under one grant, but we had different properties, different locations.
So do they think if we narrow it down, like, is that feedback from them that, would
Yes.
help us to get it this time? Okay.
Mhm. So this is going to be the main deal is going to be that all-inclusive playground with swing sets, and it is relative to this on the west side of the splash pad. So this is a all-inclusive playground. I forget the designation, but it would be a nationally recognized playground. So we would be able, Cunningham Recreation or Game Time, they would feature it, and other cities or other individuals might come out and look at it, being that it has that recognition. So this is the footprint of it. It includes some bays that include swings. Again, this is all inclusive, so it's got a lot of ramps. I think it's 3 or 4 levels of ramps. I have some other pictures that we can show, but this is going to be the primary funding request. Yes, sir.
The location won't interfere with the soccer fields and what they want?
It may. We can always bring it down a little bit more to the southwest. We're trying to keep in mind the tree placement and not move trees. I mean, they still have a lot of space. They're not looking to have anything major. But again, it's one of those things where if we need to make more soccer fields, we're going to have to just kind of move it around.
If you change the directions of the swings,
and put them more to
is
the
that
west,
possible?
more to the west over here,
Yeah, going east-west. I mean, it's not going to save a ton of room, but a little bit.
like over here in this section.
No. So it can be where it is,
Oh,
but just
rotate 'em?
rotate it.
Rotate
Yep.
them like this, 90 degrees.
Uh-huh.
Okay. I can definitely.
Just to give a little bit more room to soccer. I don't know.
I can definitely reach out. I know with swings, you can't quote me on the certain amount of inches that you need
Right.
for, but you do need a certain radius for swings for their fall surface,
Okay.
and then also for that barrier.
That's
so
probably why.
we can always play with it. We can move it around. This was just the first go of it, so feedback is always great. I think maybe rotating it 90 degrees would work, and then maybe if we bring it down a little bit more, we could definitely try to save a little bit of space.
We gotta keep the sight lines very open because as
Mhm.
a parent with little ones, like running between splash pad, bathrooms, stuff like that.
Absolutely. I have a couple more pictures.
So how much are you going to request in the grant?
So that is all just dependent on what we want to try to request. The playground itself with swings comes out to $674,000. So there is room to shave out some of these items. There are line items that we can try to shave. The playground itself is half of that cost. Another quarter of that cost is going to be the poured in place material. Poured in place material has that uniform, so that way it's the accessibility factor for this playground.
That's right.
So we have to keep all that stuff in mind.
Do you know how, if there's any tricks to maintaining that kind of surface and then a structure this large, especially since we're having foundation issues with the splash pad?
Yeah, I would have to talk to Cunningham and see. They said that the material is very easy to work with and to patch. We would just have to figure out how to make sure that the maintenance is kept up.
What, do you have to do anything to it annually?
I think you just have to. There's a sealant that you can put down on it. It'll protect it from the elements. So just making sure that sealant is applied as regularly as possible.
This is partially shaded, right?
Yes. So here are a couple of different. So the expression swing, we have some of those at Regional Park. We have the tandem swings, which are these right here. I think it would be 1 and 1, and then this is 3 bays. I think what we're requesting is 2 bays. So we would have 1 tandem, 1 expression, and then it would be a accessible swing. This is an overview of one part of it, but this is the shade structure in the middle. This is one of the poppies that we could put on there, or their variation of a poppy. Again, these are some items we can always remove. So if we say, hey, we don't want poppies, we just want to keep it plain and simple, then we can always do that. There's a close-up of it.
That's cute.
Here's a side view. Here's the ramp leading up, and then kind of over here in the background, you can see a variation of that, just a little different. But this is the ramp. A lot of it is they have different sensory things on the side of it, so that way you can do things on both inside the ramp and on the outside, so they can have functionality on both sides. This is going to be one of the slides. This one I don't think will be accessible, but this right here is a little I forgot what they call it, but it kind of, whenever the sun hits it at certain angles, it provides some shade and also some different light features on the ground. So it's a cool little acrylic feature that they have. Here's from the ground view of it. Here's one of the climbing structures that they have, and then another to go from one part to the other. I can pull up.
Do they ever say, like, do they look at grants and either fully fund or nothing?
I don't know too much about grants to tell you yes or no. One thing that I know that Cunningham is trying to help us do is get information or facts on why an inclusive playground is important in this area. One, we don't have one.
Right.
Two, having the school close by. I don't even think Hondo has an inclusive playground. So
The size of our school district should, I mean, we're paying them $7,000 for this. They can do the research, but there's a lot of reasons.
I'm sure the distance to the closest one in San Antonio is at least.
So here's that fascination factor right here on the bottom,
Yeah.
and then here's an overhead of it. But yes, it does have integrated shade structure. The acrylics also are supposed to kind of have some shade aspect. Not obviously not going to be the best, but yeah.
I think I can answer Ally's question.
Yeah.
Historically, Texas Parks and Wildlife will either accept or reject. If they don't piecemeal. You accept it all or
I guess that would be my question to GrantWorks then too. Like, is this an appropriate amount of money, or do we like need to scale it back a little bit to be approved? You know,
Do they have,
Yeah.
do they have a cap on the, how much you can request?
From Texas Parks and Wildlife,
Mhm.
yes, there's always a cap. Let me see what they have. So ours would be local, non-urban, outdoor, 750,000 matching.
Does that mean the city matches half of the 750? Or that?
No, that's this up to
That
750.
they would give you that you have to match. Okay.
okay, so then it seems reasonable when you're looking at that amount of money.
So the 675.
Is it an 80/20?
I believe it's 50-50. Yeah. So
So in other words, you apply for 600,000, the city's gonna, put in 300?
No, 600.
no, it would be 300.
Okay.
300 from 300 from Texas Parks and Wildlife, 300 from the city to equal that amount.
But what are you asking though?
The way he said it, 300 from the grant, 300 from the city.
Hmm?
You apply for,
We're applying for 600,000, but they will do a 50-50. So the city has to do 50% and they would cover the other 50%.
Okay.
And remember, these are reimbursable grants.
Yeah.
That means the city has to pay upfront.
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
Submit bills to get back.
So
So that means that
is the city supportive?
That's who we're gonna ask next week.
So we make a motion and then they have to, and then they, okay.
Well, are we making a motion to approve GrantWorks? Or are we making a motion for like just submitting the whole?
So
I mean, the
we're
whole
just making
submission.
we're just making a motion to to move forward with partnering with GrantWorks to apply for the grant. Now next week I'll be back over here at council explaining them the same thing and showing them a little bit more, and they are gonna say yes or no because they're gonna say, well, yeah, we will be willing to match whatever you guys apply for up to. And they could say, we will match up to X amount of dollars.
Mm-hmm.
So they could say, hey, we'll match $500,000. Who knows? Then that means we have a little bit of wiggle room, but it'll be council's, decision on if they want to. Now, if they say, no, we're not willing to match, then we won't even go into a partnership with GrantWorks and we won't apply for the grant.
Okay.
So we can approve now that we'd like to do that. That
Mhm.
would mean we're going forward with it.
That is correct. Yeah.
Okay.
so once they get the grant, once the company gets the grant developed, then you'll know how much that is. When you're working with the company, you can determine what level you want to apply. Key factors are going back to UWD and finding what's their total amount of allocation for that. How many applications did they have up last year? How did that shake out? Just to know what your odds are. Once you get whatever you get, you send it in, the city's gonna have to make a resolution, and yes, in fact, they're gonna have to make a resolution to submit. Meaning, so we'll be able to do this.
Yeah.
Do you feel good with GrantWorks?
I do. The only alternative is if we try to do it in-house. So I've
There's
never.
no other grant people.
I mean, there probably are. I think being that the deadline is August 1st,
Yeah.
we're kind of.
Okay.
And that's not the company that we work with on the community building, is it?
No.
Good.
That's EMC. Yeah.
Did they get a bonus if it gets awarded? Flat out.
I think it's just a flat out fee. I went through their contract, and it doesn't say anything. It's just a $7,000 due upon submission of the application. I think they're really just application processors. Yeah.
The other thing too, if you go that way, once they get ready to submit it, you can review that, and you can add things, you can work with them and say, okay, we like this, you don't like this. As far as what you want to do, and how much. That whole process, so let them do something, get it out, look at it, study it.
Do you want a motion?
Yeah, there's any other questions? How much is what portion of the 675 is the swing section? Yeah. 674, sorry. Is it itemized that way?
Yes, it should be. $11,000.
Can we add a third bay?
I can. Yeah, we can look at. Yeah,
Yes.
and again,
If I know
I'll
anything about the location of that park and the number of kids over there.
I can send this to you all so you guys can look through it line by line and see. Like I said, there are areas in here that are additional costs, like the poppies, unfortunately.
Yeah.
18,400 for poppies. Some things owner kid's gonna
What about
come
that
no
too?
matter what.
Yeah.
Um,
I'd rather have more swings than
They're just-
puppies.
yeah,
Decorative.
so we can always, or we can just say instead of 5 of them, just do 2. They're $3,000 a piece. Again, your biggest factors are going to be your installation costs. It's $132,000.
Yeah.
Port and place material is $157,000. This is some concrete curbing is $29,000. Drainage $6,000, excavation of area $25,000. So we might be able to work with Game Time as well and say, hey, if we do excavation of area in house, can we knock that price down? Same thing with poppies. Instead of 5, let's just do 2. So we can always look at this line by line and try to
This
cut
is
some
just
fat.
kind of an example.
Yes, this is turnkey.
Quote.
This is turnkey where they do it all.
What's a discount for?
I'm sorry.
What's a discount for?
Paying over. a certain amount.
Yeah, just.
Once you hit a certain amount, maybe you get a discount. I don't know.
I think that, and then 2, partnering with them, being that it would be, I forget the acronym, but that national designation.
It's a
Yeah.
Is it possible that when we get the grant, we can have a say so in like colors and?
Absolutely. So that's another thing too.
Yeah.
I told them poppies are red, so have some red, yellow, orangish colors in there. But we can, the original one, like that tealish, orange kind of colors. I don't know if y'all like that or not, but we can definitely work with some different color schemes.
But you are going to send us this.
Yes, I will. Yeah, I will definitely send this to you all.
Right. Any other questions, or would someone like to make a motion about the application?
I'll make a motion that we recommend a partnership with GrantWorks for the Texas Parks and Wildlife grant.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And that passes.
Just out of curiosity, Jonah, will there be something in this, if we go with them, in this contract, that if there's anything that happens to whatever it is.
They
that-
fix it?
Yes.
Yeah, so this specific contract or agreement is just between GrantWorks. All they're going to do is help submit the application. It would be through Game Time that we talk about warranties.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
So yes,
Game time.
yes, we will definitely talk to Game Time about having some type of warranty on equipment, port in place, curbing, everything. We'll make sure that we have warranties.
Foundation.
Maybe they should add a river feature from the splash pad.
Yeah.
We could, yeah.
That's a nice.
Just solve our drainage.
Yeah, yeah.
7A is an update from the Friends of Castroville Regional Park. Did you have anything, Helen?
You're up.
Yeah.
Oh,
Oh, that's,
I didn't hear you.
Just smile and nod.
Yeah.
Jeez.
She was waiting for Patrick.
So, okay. We had our meeting on Monday, and I'll go over a couple of things we talked about. First of all, several years ago, we received 3 anonymous donations to the Botanical Trail in memory of Kathy Crick, Lucy Cease, and Allie's mom, Nancy. We wanted their plaques to be placed further down the trail, so we waited and waited and waited until the city decided what they were gonna do with the dam and the ponds. We are tired of waiting, so we decided at this meeting to purchase the plaques and place them on the upper wall of the existing section of the Botanical Park. We will let the families know when they become a reality, with our apologies for taking so long. We're also in the process of seeking bids on removing the old timbers that border the lower part of the butterfly garden and replacing them with the same kind of limestone blocks that are in the Botanical Park. The purpose is to tie the 2 gardens together. That we're working on. And we talked about boo bash. Before any real plans can be made, we need to know what effect all the construction in the park will have on that event. Terry Barrow is grandfathering it this year, yay, I don't have to do it. Same with the Christmas plans. We also talked about the lack of trail sponsors, and I really look to you guys for help with that. We need a trail sponsor for Rocky Ravine, Cross Hill, Canal Trail, Norman's Knoll, Ernie's Incline, and Vickers Byway. We would really hate to have to close the trail because we can't maintain it. That's what will happen.
Could you repeat those trails again?
Sure. Rocky Ravine, Cross Hill, Canal Trail, which is the canal road up top, and that really only necessitates maintenance around the signpost. The BMA takes care of the road itself. They're supposed to. Norman's Knoll, Ernie's Incline, and Vickers Byway.
Thank you.
The other trails have nice good sponsors. Maybe you can talk to people or explain to them, really, you only have to do it for a year. Might even compromise in less than a year, you know.
Is there do y'all have a flyer for this or some kind of informational
I sent
that?
out about 4 or 5 different ones recently.
Okay.
Facebook, Nextdoor, the city newsletter, why not that?
On the chamber, it's even on that.
Chamber too, yeah, they've done it too.
And I assume our Boy Scout, Girl Scout groups, do they already sponsor?
Yeah, we have a Girl Scout group that's taking care of them, not a Boy Scout right now. Girl Scout. We have that Boy Scout. And the GLTC took care of one
Uh-huh.
for time, but they're not doing theirs.
How often do they need to be maintained?
Oh, it all depends. 1 year, hardly ever.
Yeah.
We had weather like this, and Mother Nature doesn't grow. But then we've had springs that had lots of rain, a lot of wildfires to keep up with. It depends on Mother Nature. Sometimes it's more work than others, you know? But the big stuff, the trends we do on work sessions, if sponsor reports that bridge is out, or a step is missing, those kind of things we don't expect the sponsors to do. The and we'll schedule work on what's that?
So if you sponsor a trail, you can maintain that trail at any time, there's not a set time, it's your group decides when they go. Maybe it's picking up trash, just mainly looking and see what these branches are sticking out, trim them back.
That's what I was gonna say, mostly trimming and trash pickup and stuff?
Yeah, that's the majority of it, right.
Because the
Mainly
soccer
it's
group
to put
wanted
eyes
to
on the
volunteer.
trail,
That would work.
Mainly it's to put eyes on the trail, to let us know if there's other problems, like
Uh-huh.
there's a step broken, or there's a huge big tree across it or whatever, and Joan as well.
Okay.
But mainly it's just picking up trash and walking on the trail just to see what's there. It's pretty easy.
I think maybe people don't understand. I didn't know what you were supposed to do. Maybe people just need to know more.
And when you have a trail and it does need work, then that's what the monthly work days are for.
Mm,
So say there's a
major-
huge tree that's across there, well, on that work day, you can say, all right, let's go cut that tree down, and you have people to go do it. So trail sponsors don't actually have to do a lot of heavy lifting, because during school season, we usually have ROTC folks.
Should be keeping an eye on the trail, making sure it doesn't have some issues on it.
Do you have any churches that sponsor trails?
None of the churches, but that's a good point. Discover Church has been active in some of the stuff that we've done. And the Mormon Church has, what are the churches?
Those are the two big ones.
There's a
Yeah.
bank, there's many businesses, it's great for businesses or organizations or families. You get family.
Mhm.
thing to do.
So the city, I was at the meeting, and the Parks Department will take on two of them because we already are maintaining or doing some maintenance at the Scout Pavilion. So there's two trails that are over there, so they're not too big, but
You wanna add the scout to that too?
Ellen's always looking. I mean, why not, right, Ellen? So we gotta keep the crew busy. Yeah, we gotta keep the crew busy. I thought I did do the Scout Trail. Yeah.
A creek. You said,
You said that we're in the Scout Trail.
So we already do the pavilion.
now you do two trails in addition to the.
Yes. Yeah. So there we go. So that's gonna help. I mean, eventually the city will be doing the maintenance on everything there eventually. So it's just kind of one step in that direction.
And really, it's for, like I said, it's mainly for have people going out to let us know if there is problems, to let John know there is problems. And then they can report back to, okay, there's a big problem on this trip. That mainly what it is, see what's going on out there, because I don't want to trip. So, the more eyes we have out there.
Yeah. Okay.
It's been amazing to me that we've gone 20 years with volunteers. I never expected it to last that long. It's awesome.
Okay.
Oh, you have anything else?
Do you have anything?
What else, Helen?
Oh, yeah. Finally, we're having a work session this Saturday. We do not usually have one in June or July, but the butterfly garden and the botanical garden are terribly overgrown, and I'm embarrassed. So please come if you can, call people, even a few minutes of pulling weeds is one of the best weed I have. We're gonna start at 7:30, because it's cooler, and if somebody come for a half hour, awesome. That's it. That's it.
Yeah.
About the over.
Trail grant. I got it. Okay, so Gemma showed online the online grant website. And they'll send a notice if there's something you have to do for that grant. So last time I looked on it, there were three things I had to do. One was get a direct deposit for the city tax ID name, and then develop, they asked a couple of questions about the project site. Is it located near a railroad, roads, archaeological sites, and data plans? Fill that out and submitted those. That information goes to TPWD. They'll review that as well as the grant. everything's okay, they'll send it from there to TxDOT. TxDOT is the one that's actually funding this program with TPWA. The money from TxDOT comes from the gasoline sales tax. Is there. Then TxDOT is the one that's gonna actually submit and say, okay, everything's good, you can start work. In that process, if once they review it, they say, the stuff you submitted for the archaeological review or the plant review is not sufficient, you have to hire somebody to do that, professional consultants to do that. They will release the funds for that grant so that the city can do that. That was provided some historical data on archaeological report and plant stuff. I sent those to PWD, we said, okay, is this gonna work or not? They sent back and said, well, we don't know, because TxDOT is the one. So, once, as it stands right now, everything's been submitted to PWD. Everything's submitted to TxDOT, and it's gonna take more time. This time next year, we should actually know, yes, when we can start. Move forward, just start. And that it's gonna encompass a lot of work, new signs, new benches, a lot of the trails, how many miles of new trail. Yeah, it's gonna be
Really exciting. And hopefully, what gets done will make it easier for the city to maintain. Because we'll be doing trails in a different way, and so that will help too. Should be awesome.
Thank you, Patrick.
7B is an update from Parks and Rec Director.
So I'm gonna kind of jump real quick. So to Helen's point about the Boo Bash, we just got an updated calendar from the contractor. So I'll review that. I'll send it over to Helen to see. Based on it, the end of October. When are we doing Boo Bash?
Last Saturday in October, I think it's 26th, I'm not positive about that.
So I mean, they're obviously going to have some stuff going on. I can pull this calendar and look to see. So it looks like main building floor they're going to be doing up until that time. Main building install wall base they're supposed to commence 10/31. So we might be able to. A lot of the site work should be done on the exterior of the building, so it may be interior stuff. But don't hold me to it. I'll look at this calendar and I'll look at Boo Bash and see.
We don't know yet what's gonna happen with the dam, or is it gonna be work?
I haven't heard
So
it.
many unknowns.
Yeah.
Are they on track with the rain and everything?
Yeah, they're looking to be on track. There were a couple of rain days, but they were well ahead of schedule. So I'll check to see if they're still. But yeah, they're looking pretty good.
the main concern on the bash is the road access.
Correct. So
And remind me to talk to you about soccer improvement.
okay. So this is my report. Last month I shared something a little different. It wasn't in PowerPoint presentation. It was just in a document form. So we're going to try to see if y'all guys prefer it. If you don't, you prefer the PowerPoints, I can always move back to those. Please let me know what there's a preference if there's any, or if you're okay kind of just getting the bullet points. So this is for the month of May. Community center construction, plumbing, rough-in is complete. Stormwater system is also complete. Contractor is currently working on the concrete foundation. So this report was created last week, so it was kind of just very broad. All of our grade beams have been dug. They were working on rebar earlier today. They plan to pour next week on Wednesday the 25th. Start time is looking like 3 in the morning, 1 in the morning. So it's all kind of dependent on weather is going to be the biggest factor because they want to make sure that that concrete doesn't get too hard as it gets hotter during the day. So they're looking at about 6 to 8 hours plus or minus. I haven't heard anything based on this foundation and what they're doing. I haven't heard anything on pool closure yet. So I'll make sure to talk to the superintendent about it, see if there's any sidewalks that are also going to be poured, or if this is strictly just going to be the community center foundation. Pool staffing, we're sitting at about 10 lifeguards. There's still a couple that are being onboarded, but we did hold 2 training sessions for lifeguards. Event prep is beginning for July 4th, so making sure that we have vendors, making sure that we know our site plan, where everything is going. July 4th will be on July 4th, which is Friday this year. Replace the interpretive panels throughout Regional Park. We need to do some artwork on 4. They're all Be Advised signs, and at the back of this report I have some pictures of what they are, but we do need to replace 4 of those. So I need to get with Helen to make sure that we get some accurate artwork together, since we could not locate those. Programming and events, again, just July 4th celebration at Regional Park. We originally had, I think it was 4 or 5 vendors that we were going to have. We ended up opening it up, and I want to say we have about 8 to 10 vendors now. We have a mix. I know American Legion is one of them. We've got Cranky Dogs. We've got I think 3 different varieties of ice cream, shaved ice. We want to make sure there's a variety and not all shaved ice or ice cream. So we have a good variety. Reservation reports, volleyball courts. We didn't have any. It doesn't mean that anybody used it, but just based off of our Civic Rec software, we didn't have any that actually reserved and paid for usage. Lions Park Athletic Field, we had one. One is going to be just one large reservation under the league. So Castroville United is that they're using that field, so we just have it as one instead of having one every day of the week or whenever they use it. So Lions Park softball field, we had 5. Nobody at Regional Park Amphitheater. 3 area rentals, 15 pavilion rentals, 24 table rentals. Pool parties, we had 13. RV park bookings, 52. Tent camping, 1. And for the friends, whenever I gave them my report, I had 1 for visitors at Steinbach House. We added Steinbach House as an option to take card payment, so people can go online and pay with a card if they want to give a donation to Steinbach House. So that's why it was only reading as 1. But they had 246 visitors for the month of May. Work order reports. So we had 120 total work orders for the Parks Department, 33 for the facilities. Our history is down here at the bottom. May of 2024, we had 82. Last month, we had 119. And this May of 2025, we had 153. We're averaging about 118 work orders per month based on these 3 readings here. Staffing, 4 positions that are filled for full-time staff, 1 part-time staff member, 1 temporary staff member, and again, about 10 lifeguarding staff. Pool staff, this includes our coaches, our swim coaches as well. Upcoming priorities, we've got Garden of Roots tree replacement, 3 of them, 3 plus, probably a couple of Vitex and crepe myrtles that we might need to replace. The installation of tree signs on the exterior part of Garden of Roots. I'm going to skip over Splash Pad, but I will definitely go back to it. Finalizing lifeguard onboarding and training. Like I said, there's still about 3 lifeguards that need to be onboarded. Finalize our budget planning for 25-26 fiscal year. That's between council. And then continued monitoring of the community center construction progress and park access. Splash pad repair plan. So we emailed some pictures to Vortex to get some insight on what they may or may not be able to shed light on what the failure was for the splash pad. I emailed that to them last week. Advanced Aquatics, I haven't heard back from them yet, but I will be reaching out. Advanced Aquatics, they video inspected some of the fixture lines, which y'all are aware of already, but they did this a couple months ago. Some of the lines showed clear white pipe, what we wanted. Some of them showed a blockage, what looked to be like soil, some little rocks or pebbles, and then roots, which is not what we want. So obviously there's a break in the line having that material, showing in that picture. Once we have a report compiled on what we think may have been the problem, whether it was foundation or a water leak or the concrete wasn't poured, I have no idea. Once we have that report compiled, we'll make sure to share it with you all and council. And then council will give direction on what we want to do with it. We want to repair it, obviously, but it's going to come down to cost. So I will definitely keep you all updated on this one. Some pictures. So we have the rain event, June 11th and 12th. So I don't remember if you all recall, but Adriana's kids were standing in this last month. This month, they would be underwater if they were still standing. So this is the amount of rainwater that came down from the hill, and this is the pond on the east side. This was dry. So it's a lot of rain that came down. Here's another picture. Swim meet from June 7th, 2025. Heard it was a success. We have another swim meet at Regional Park, the pool, this Saturday. And then here are some of the interpretive panels, the before and afters. Different locations, but they're looking really well. And this is the Be Advised sign that we're going to have to replace. There's 4 of them, but we don't have the artwork on them, so we'll just match it the best we can, trying to get the same pictures. But yeah. The other thing that I would like
Was that someone's Eagle Scout project?
Yes.
Surely one of them needs.
Yeah.
Can't do the same thing.
Oh yeah, somebody definitely needs an Eagle Scout project, but this Eagle Scout does not have that artwork anymore. So the cost of them were pretty low. We did a couple last year. They've held up really well. And I don't remember how many we just installed this go round. 5. So they're doing really well. So I didn't put any pictures of the community center in there, just because there's a lot. So I want to go through. So we have the software Procore. It's tracking the progress of the community center. Procore we use for a lot of things. So they use it for photos, requests for information, submittals, drawing specifications. So there's a lot of different aspects of Procore, but pictures are going to be the biggest one. So these pictures were today. And we'll go through a couple. So this is the rebar that is inside the grade beams. There's a lot of grade beams, so this building should not move. But, we're knock on wood. So you can see there's a lot of different grade beams in here. They put this cover over there and the rebar in there to hopefully, if we have any rain the rest of this week, hopefully everything will be protected and good. Yes, sir.
Do you know what the square footage is?
I wrote it down. I want to say it's like 5,000 plus square feet.
Okay.
Like 5,200 more or less. Go to the next one. So again, I can share as many or as little pictures as we want, but you can see in here, here's some of the plumbing that they did. That was done a couple weeks ago, or last week, I believe. So just making sure that they're documenting all this information. Here's some sandbags around the drainage, the storm drains that we have currently, some more grade beam pictures.
So like you needed this for the splash pad.
That's exactly what I was thinking. Exactly.
Yeah, so I'll have to better understand. I know there was a grade beam put on the perimeter of the splash pad. I don't know. Again, this is kind of where I'm trying to get Vortex to give me some insight on if there were any grade beams that were required in the middle of it to help with that shifting. But we'll see what they say. So here you can see where some of those grade beams were filled in with water. So they had to do a lot of work to get all that cleaned up. Some more water pictures from the rain.
Do you have a picture of the storm sewer, the first thing they did, that really deep ditch?
Yes.
Inside? That was impressive.
And I had those on my report last month, but so this is all their plumbing.
It's nice to have this documentation.
Absolutely.
I mean,
So
visually,
yeah, for sure. So here's some of their sanitary, their storm drain. Here's some of them putting it in. Here's some of the freshwater plumbing that was going in as well. Let's see if I have a better picture of that. So this is all sanitary sewer. Here is freshwater. This no, I'm sorry. This is stormwater. Right over here where these gentlemen are, this is going to be future bathhouse, whether it's restroom and showers. So they have it already plumbed for fresh water and a tap for sanitary sewer in this area. So that's ready to go. Um,
For whatever it's worth, I've been very impressed with this young superintendent. I've been down there a lot lately, and he's really hands-on. He's out there with his measuring tape before any of the guys show up in the morning, measuring, remeasuring. He's not sitting in a little air-conditioned office. I think that was my observation.
Yes, yeah. Mr. Lockwood, he is very hands-on. He's making sure everything is, and he is. I will say he is on top of things because this corridor right here was very difficult. So we have a utility pole over here. We have an electrical utility pole over here. Just relative to this picture, just over here to the left, we have a force main sewer line. And then you can see where they have their stormwater drain, trying to come down through here. In addition to stormwater, they also had to locate our sanitary sewer, and you can see that here. So they had to, make sure that where they were digging, they are very calculated to make sure that they don't hit, obviously, that force main, but then also making sure that, their measurements and everything are correct. So, yeah, so here's their trench for their stormwater.
This is wonderful, having this record.
Mm-hmm.
So we have all the pictures here. You can see some of the cleanouts that they have over here with caps. This is where I think there was a sprinkler head that was broken on the butterfly garden, and it came in and washed out some of their stuff in there.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No worries, it happens. But yeah, like I said, I can keep on. We can go as far back as we want. If you would like certain pictures, of certain items during this process, I can provide them. They are all on Procore. But as the project continues, we'll keep on updating. So I can just kind of provide what has been done from like this month to next month, and just give you some of those highlights. But they document everything in here. So it's a lot of pictures. I won't give you guys all of them, but we definitely give you guys a majority of them. So that way, and again, if you want more, if you want less, or you want specific ones, let me know. But there's the stormwater system. Let's see if I go.
That's a big one.
So this is where they're doing their potholes, finding all of the current utilities. This is the force main. Here's their sanitary sewer that they tapped into, the clay pipe. But yeah, it's definitely progressing. It was exciting to hear that they plan to pour their concrete next week on Wednesday. So that's all very fun and exciting.
I have to mention, there was one morning when, usually the guys are all working, and they're moving all over the place. Nobody had standing around. One morning, there was 3 guys standing, doing absolutely nothing. So, well, you know me, I had to ask the superintendent why they were standing there. And they were waiting for inspection. So, yay. I had to wait for the inspectors to come, so they had nothing they could do.
That's all for me, I believe.
Yeah. Do you think the getting grass growing back on the soccer fields could be a priority since
Yes.
we
So-
talked about on Monday with the rain?
Yes, so I reached out to Site One. I need to talk to them to see what they recommend. But yeah, I did put it on his radar that we would be probably ordering some fertilizers to try to get that going. Right now, the plant is still trying to, well, we understand it that the plan to use the contact chamber as a possible option to pull from to irrigate the park is not, I mean, it's a great idea, but right now the way it sits and the pumps that sit on the skid that are there, they're not big enough to pump what we need, and that tank is not big enough to hold the amount of water that we need. So we're going to go back to how it was before. I think Scott should have an update for council on how they want to move forward with that skid. And when I say skid, it's basically like a pallet that has equipment on there that's pulling water from the contact chamber and then pushing it down to Regional Park. So there's four pumps on it, 2 smaller ones and 2 larger ones. And if I misspeak, hopefully the wastewater treatment plant can correct me. But the 2 larger pumps on there are just not big enough to pump the amount of water and to get the amount of pressure that we need on those heads. So we're trying to look to see what the cost is going to be to increase those pump sizes, so that way we do have that adequate pressure down there on the park. We still have the option to go back to how we were pumping or letting it go into the wet well from the west pond. That's nothing has changed in there. We haven't cut any pipe or anything like that, so we can still do that, which is what the plan is. Get fertilizer down on the field, irrigate the old way until we have that new plan in place with new pumps or new infrastructure, whatever. And then see that disc filter is really helping getting those particles not to the irrigation heads. So that's where we're at.
Can you let us know how that goes with council?
Yes.
Since you ended your report, when does the festivities start for July 4th down at the park?
Oh, that's a great question. I believe after 5, I want to say. I think that we're planning to, I know the concert, I think, starts at 7 or 8, something like, I have to double check to see what we're doing, but I know fireworks are probably going to be around the same time, which is 10 o'clock.
It's not even dark till 9.
Yeah, so it's not going to be, the park is not going to be an all-day deal. The park will be closed for reservations and stuff. People that they want to go in, walk into the park are more than welcome to, but the actual loop around the park will be closed for that day, just so that way fireworks have enough space. We don't have people park in, not good spots, and then we have to try to hound them down, find them to move their cars because they're parked in the, the shoot site or whatever it is. Same thing with, skydiving. We will have skydivers, so we want to make sure that nobody parks in that area as well.
So you think it's around 5 o'clock?
I believe it should be after 5. I can double check.
That's okay, I was just curious. Because it is still at the front.
Yeah, are they gonna have that event?
Apparently, I was told they would.
Oh, gosh.
I know.
Everything always falls on the same day.
Any other questions for Jenna?
I do not have any other questions.
7C is the next regular call meeting will be July 16th. And I think, just to give an update, I think Stephen's gonna apply to move up to a regular member, so we'll still have a pool if that goes through. Because I think they're trying to meet at the end of the month to approve all the applications for the next year. For all boards, if I understood the email right. And then, so that means we'll have an open spot for the alternate. And I think that's all I have. If you have, at any time during the month, if anything needs to be added to the agenda or you have a brilliant idea, please let me know. Because I usually start working on it like 10 days or 2 weeks, 10 days, I think, usually before the submission deadline.
6 to 10 in the park. That's one thing that is working. The internet.
Is there a motion to adjourn?
I'd like to make a motion to adjourn.
I'll second.
All right.
All in favor?
Aye.
7:24. Thank you for.